Subscribe for more mysteries, unsolved and unexplained.
Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Look, today we're skipping the wild internet speculation. We're diving straight into the hard data, the exact timeline, and the established, undeniable facts behind the absolute greatest mystery in aviation history, the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. To really wrap our heads around this, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the baseline reality, the vanishing point, the unprecedented global search, debris and satellite data, and we'll wrap it all up with the theories and final reports. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The baseline reality. The doomed routine flight. So to really understand just how crazy this anomaly is, we first have to establish the normalcy, right? Picture this. It's March 8th, 2014. A Boeing 777-200ER, registered as 9M-MRO, is scheduled for what should be a completely standard, incredibly routine route. We're talking about a typical red-eye flight taking off from Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia, cruising across the South China Sea, and eventually landing at Beijing Capital International Airport in China. Now, amid all the technical data we're going to look at, the human element here is just staggering. There were 239 people on board that night, 227 passengers, and 12 crew members. And this wasn't just a localized event. 14 different nationalities were represented. The heaviest impact fell on China with 153 passengers, and Malaysia with 50 passengers, plus those 12 Malaysian crew members. So right from the moment this aircraft pushed back from the gate, this tragedy had a massive, truly international impact. Moving right along to Section 2, the vanishing point, timeline of the disappearance. All right, let's look at how this builds, because these are the absolute crucial minutes. At 0046 Malaysian time, air traffic control clears Flight 370 to flight level 350, so about 35,000 feet up. Completely normal. Then at 1:19, we get the final voice contact from the cockpit. But just 3 minutes later, at 1:22, boom. The aircraft is inexplicably lost from air traffic control's secondary surveillance radar screens. But here's the kicker. It was actually still in the sky. The Malaysian military's primary radar kept tracking it. They watched it make this sharp, totally unprompted deviation westward, turning entirely away from Beijing, crossing all the way back over the Malay Peninsula, until it finally just slipped out of military radar range at 0:22 over the Andaman Sea. And right here is where the data completely diverges. Normal communication, stuff like the transponder and voice contact, that was entirely severed early on. Gone. However, the aircraft's satellite data unit, or SDU, was actually still active. It kept logging on to the Inmarsat satellite network, sending these automated electronic handshakes all the way until 08:19 in the morning. Think about that for a second. This single critical piece of data definitively proved the plane didn't just crash in the South China Sea immediately after losing ATC radar contact. No, it actually flew in total silence for roughly 6 more hours. Which brings us to Section 3, the unprecedented global search. So those silent satellite pings, they forced a massive pivot in the investigation. Just look at this number, 120,000. That's the square kilometers of remote ocean floor in the southern Indian Ocean that investigators had to painstakingly survey over a 3-year period. To put that into perspective, it's a massive expanse of deep, incredibly turbulent water, about 1,800 kilometers southwest of Perth, Australia. It represents this absolute daunting void that investigators were somehow tasked with scanning. And this brilliantly illustrates how the hunt for MH370 became literally the most expensive aviation search in history. It required a totally complex, multi-domain approach, because to cover that massive void, cutting-edge aerial surveillance like the P-8 Poseidon Navy aircraft had to be paired up with advanced deep-sea technology. They were literally deploying underwater drones and dragging sonar systems right off the back of heavy vessels, just blindly scanning the pitch-dark ocean floor. Next up, Section 4, debris and satellite data, the physical evidence. Now, the big breakthrough ultimately didn't come from beneath the waves at all. It came from what drifted ashore over a year later. In July 2015, a part of a Boeing 777 called a flaperon washed up on a beach in Saint Andre on the island of Reunion. After that, a flap-track fairing was discovered in Mozambique, and then an engine cowling with a partial Rolls-Royce logo washed up in South Africa. Thanks to specific stenciling and maintenance records, investigators were able to confirm for sure that these pieces belong to 9M-MRO. But here is the crucial part.
The exact locations where these pieces were found perfectly matched the ocean drift models that researchers had developed. It strongly corroborated that the plane did indeed end its flight out in the remote southern Indian Ocean.
Of course, while these fragments definitely proved the plane went down, it's like the official statement says, the bulk of the aircraft has not been located, prompting many theories about its disappearance. The physical debris was totally undeniable, but the absolute absence of the main fuselage, and crucially those flight data recorders, left a massive informational void. And you know how it goes, where there's a void, theories naturally rush right in to fill it.
And that leads us perfectly into our final part, Section 5, Theories and Final Reports.
So what did the actual experts think? Investigators from the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, the FBI, and the Malaysian government honestly looked at several main theories. They explored the possibility of a catastrophic hypoxia event, where the crew and passengers might have just lost consciousness. They looked into an unexplained power interruption to the comm systems. And yes, they also investigated deliberate human intervention, like a hijacking or a pilot murder-suicide scenario. Now, it was confirmed that a home flight simulator belonging to the captain actually showed a simulated path straight into the remote southern Indian Ocean. However, the Malaysian government officially reported that there was nothing sinister about it. Ultimately, among all these top investigators, no conclusive, rock-solid consensus was ever reached on any single theory.
All of this exhaustive effort finally culminated in the Malaysian Ministry of Transport's 2018 final report. Guys, it is a massive document, literally 1,500 pages long, and honestly, its findings just highlight a really frustrating finality. The report definitively confirmed that the aircraft was manually taken off its assigned flight path, whether by a pilot or some third party. It also highlighted the pretty devastating fact that the plane flew completely undetected by air traffic control radar for 20 entire minutes before anyone was even alerted. Yet, despite 1,500 pages of data and analysis, the ultimate cause for the disappearance remains officially undetermined. So, in the absence of a definitive cause, the aviation industry was basically forced to adapt. New regulations citing Flight 370 directly were implemented. Because of this, we now have increased battery life on underwater locator beacons, extended recording times on cockpit voice recorders, and way stricter standards for aircraft position reporting when they're out over the open ocean. But I want to leave you all with this final provocative thought today. Given absolutely everything we've just covered, do these new flight tracking regulations and extended recorder batteries truly ensure that a massive commercial aircraft can never simply vanish like this again? Keep asking those tough questions, and I'll see you in the next explainer.